All right, hello. Time for another episode of the podcast no one will listen to. I'm joined once again by Austin, the vagrant homeless person who lives in my house, and we're joined again by Eric.
What is this place?
Howdy.
It's too hot.
All right, so I know it's been a while, but let's talk about what happened at San Diego Comic-Con. It was this past week, and none of us can really afford to go.
I just read the news about all the maulings and the tramplings to get to the panels.
All two of them?
Yes.
All right, so a lot of good shit's been happening. A lot of movie trailers, a lot of announcements, a lot of reboots. Let's talk about them. First, I want to say, is Nickelodeon going to be good again? Because now that they announced Rocko's Modern Life and the Hey Arnold Jungle movie to kind of finish off the series. What are your thoughts on that?
Oh my gosh, I am very excited for this.
I like how especially they kept the spirit of Rocko's Modern Life, essentially just throughout this entire thing.
I like how they're like, oh, it's Rocko's Modern Life. You know, we can't be in the 90s anymore. We have to now update. I like that little portion right there.
I like how they've basically kept everything. This might be on the Samurai Jack side of how to do a reboot. Although that one is a continuation.
That was a continuation. That was continuation.
This is a reboot. This is the right way to do a reboot, which kind of just shows Cartoon Network doesn't know how to reboot shows.
Let's see. They've tried once, twice,
3 times.
Third's coming. Wait, what's the third?
Teen Titans Go, Powerpuff Girls, and Ben 10.
Yeah.
There's a 2016
Do we count
Ben.
those?
Yeah, it's a new Ben 10.
I just count them as...
this isn't like Alien Force or Omniverse.
No,
this is a
full-fledged
reboot.
Starting from scratch. Okay, then
starting again.
So the fourth will be Johnny Bravo whenever that comes out.
Hopefully never from the track record of
so do I. I hope never. Don't ruin that.
Right.
Keep something sacred.
I mean, they brought back the voice actors. Even the animation looks the same. It's just cleaner.
No, that is beauty right there.
I know.
Sticking to the original, but without, just cleaning it up.
So it's not as grainy and whatnot.
Exactly. We have the technology. Let's make it a little better, but keep the integrity. Which
is something that I find that the Powerpuff Girls reboot
failed.
It looks so ugly. Because I think that's the exception where it's too clean, even the backgrounds which had were hand drawn cityscapes with very nice this retro future kind of 50s era, and now it just looks like complete crap.
Yeah, they screwed up.
So they screwed up on nearly every level, but I think that subject's been done to death.
So anywho. So what do you think? Do you think this Rocko's Modern Life is going to be good? Do you think
I think it's going to be good. However, I think just due to Nickelodeon's track record with animation in the past 5 years now, with them essentially slowing down in their animation department in favor of just more live action shows, I think a lot of people are already turned off by the idea of Nickelodeon being good. Just because, you hear all those complaints about, ooh, why do they keep making SpongeBob? It's not so good. And then, you have Fairly Odd Parents, who I'm surprised it lasted this long. I thought it was canceled years ago.
Same here.
But apparently they kept, that's the amazing thing. They just announced that it's officially ending, but nobody knew it was still going.
Exactly. That's impressive.
It's like you found out that your great uncle died when you're like, he was still alive? I thought he died 10 years ago.
Then here comes the sadness. Oh.
But then you realize that he was, I don't know, a serial murderer and arsonist,
Makes sense.
And then you don't feel as bad when it gets canceled, when he dies or gets canceled.
I know Nick's been doing more live action stuff, but I think that's just a sign of the times. It's cheaper to do that.
I think it's definitely cheaper to probably do a live action sitcom. I know Disney Channel, that's kind of been their MO since their inception.
Yeah. And then they do reruns of old cartoons, which is hilarious.
Do they? I don't think they've ever done that.
The 90s Spider-Man used to be a JetX staple for years.
Oh, yeah, but was that on Disney?
With Gargoyles.
Was that on Disney Channel, though? I thought that was on a different network.
Well, Toon Disney.
Yeah.
Is it Toon Disney?
Yeah, it was Toon Disney.
Toon Disney. Yeah,
And
I'm
eventually-
talking about the Disney Channel. Like Toon Disney
Okay.
was its own.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Still,
Separate
I think
thing.
it is still its own thing.
It's weird how you have
No,
these
it's still
networks.
around.
Okay.
You have these networks where you have the main channel, which has none of the good shit, but then you'll have like
The
lesser
off-brand.
known, like Nickelodeon has Nicktoons, where they do show reruns of their old shows all the time, but that doesn't get nearly as much traffic, and I find that's a crying shame because that has the content that people really want to see.
Come on, 90s kids. What the hell?
90s kids are dumb.
Pretty much. Wait a minute. We're
Yeah.
90s kids.
Yeah, but we're dumb.
Yeah,
We're pretty dumb.
Probably.
There's also Teen Nick, which does all the reruns of the live action shows.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Teen Nick.
Yeah.
I remember.
Nobody talks about Teen Nick.
Do they still have Nick at
Monster.
Night?
Yeah, they still have Nick at Night.
With Fresh Prince and...
Ah.
Michelle and
Muppet Show.
yeah, all those terrible
Improvement.
terrible PG
Oh my God.
Love
sitcoms.
Roseanne.
Stop.
Love Roseanne. That's the relationship everyone should be shooting for. A Roseanne and Dan relationship.
Sure. Another reboot that I guess a lot of people are really kind of pining for is the Hey Arnold one.
I know nothing about. I'm gonna admit now, I never watched Hey Arnold.
Hey Arnold is probably how you make like one of those slice of life cartoons,
Like King of the Hill.
like King of the Hill, except it has
For
that
children.
for children, and it has that whole brand of like unlike King of the Hill, where it is a very realistic show, both in animation and writing. Hey Arnold embraced kind of its cartooniness. Like it had a cartoony aesthetic, but it was very grounded as much as you can. I mean, like nobody has any kind of like weird superpower or
No one can
weird
jump off a building and live.
weird cartoon logic. I mean,
this isn't a Looney Tune.
it wasn't like a Looney Tune, but there were like some pretty outlier. Like you had Monkey Man, who was this homeless vigilante who would just kind of he was essentially like a parody of Batman because he was just this crazy kid
Who hasn't done that?
who really liked monkeys, but he was essentially just a homeless person who would just kind of help out people, and he lived in an alley and all that. It's like, yeah, that can happen. It's pretty fucking weird.
Who's accepting help from this man is my question.
I mean, if you're being mugged and some crazy person in a
Okay,
monkey
well, yeah, I
cape
see that.
kicks the crap out of your mugger, I mean, you're not going to ask too many questions.
No, you're not.
So that finally is getting a movie. I think it had a really good run. It did kind of, it ended on a cliffhanger basically, because
I know.
Arnold finds out that he's told the story of his origin and where his parents are and where they came from, but it's implied that due to the story that they died, and then lo and behold, Arnold finds out that there's a possibility that they could still be alive, and that's the final episode of the show.
Dicks.
Dicks, but it's like that's not exactly it's closure, but not really. So
it's kind of like false like we were really hoping Nick would renew us. Closure.
maybe I don't know the full story behind that. However, I do know that they were planning on doing the Jungle movie when they decided to just do the Arnold Big movie instead, which is the one where the businessman tries to take down the neighborhood for a super highway or something like that.
Oh, right.
So we never
yeah.
That
got
sounds cliche.
that.
Like this has happened before.
I mean, this was back in like the
Did they
early,
make that or
This,
no?
yeah,
they
this-
made that,
Yeah,
but it
that
was
was in the early 2000s.
that was the early 2000s, so it wasn't like
Oh, like along with like Rugrats Go to Paris and.
yeah,
Yeah,
it was in
mm.
that era.
Okay.
Except I don't think Arnold's Big movie was ever released to theaters. I don't think, was it?
Rugrats was.
I'm sure it was.
Rugrats
'Cause
was
I
for sure.
I do remember this being on DirecTV, and I actually watched it on.
Okay, yeah, I just remember it being on TV, and then I think it was on
I am
Netflix
like
for the longest time.
95% sure it was in theaters.
Okay, but so now that they've announced that they are going to be continuing that, and they showed us a teaser of, and like Rocko's Modern Life, they kept to the art style of the show, and the voice actors. I don't know if they're all the same. I think that a lot of them have changed, but I think that
I think there's bound to be somebody who's died.
somebody who's died or just can't do the voice anymore. But
which is always a shame because it's like, oh, you're trying to keep the integrity, but you just can't.
Like what happened with Mako. I mean, you can't really do anything about that.
You can't. It's a shame.
So they're going to be continuing with that, and I don't know. It's another good one where it just makes me cautiously optimistic that is Nickelodeon going to be good again, especially when and I just learned this that they are releasing a new cartoon, Welcome to Wayne's or something. I know almost nothing about it.
Yeah, this is the first I'm hearing about this.
But apparently it's like a new show they're rolling
I don't know
out.
where he gets this information.
I get this information
It's
from
like he channels dead crazy people.
No, I have channeled the dead crazy people.
Okay. Either way, I'm really looking forward to all this, but I think we are overlooking some other.
I just find it funny. Nickelodeon's getting great again by bringing back the past.
They're bringing back the past in ways that Cartoon Network just outright fails.
And that's the funny thing. Like, why is Nickelodeon good? Because they brought back the past correctly.
Oh my god! And I've seen like programming blocks for Cartoon Network for their recent schedule, and you know they have a pretty impressive repertoire of shows. They can rerun other shows, but they always just do Teen Titans Go. Like it's their SpongeBob basically.
I know it's sad.
Like you have they're releasing a new show, OKKO. Eric, did you see anything about OKKO? Or
I saw like the first 4 episodes of OKKO.
I get to see the episodes. I've just seen a lot of the trailers and all the the meet the characters. What do you think of OKKO?
My opinions are more subjective. They're not objective. It's a nice kid show. It's definitely intended for a Y7 audience. It's got a very kid art style to it because everything looks like it was outlined in crayon and looks like it was drawn by a kid, which is
Which high quality.
No. It's intentional. Like,
Okay.
that's the intention.
I will say
Just screams quality.
it does kind of bother me of how cheap it looks.
Yeah, it looks pretty cheap.
It looks because the thing is, you have these action sequences where they're detailed, but most of the time the characters' hands are circles.
I know, but it's supposed to be more relatable to kids. That's the
right.
thing.
But
well, that's fair.
Yeah, I know. I agree.
I think we're forgetting cartoons were meant for children.
no, they are not meant
Until the
for
2000s.
I just wish it would take more
Late
of a
80s, early
universal approach rather than just pandering to young kids' approach, so to speak.
1960 superhero serials.
Well, OKKO, it's a welcome addition made by Ian Jones Quarterly, who was producer for Steven Universe. So that should show
There's
you
hope.
that there's some hope. I don't know if they're going to develop their own Teen Titans Go test, but essentially saying like, oh, if you're not as marketable as Teen Titans Go, looks like you're going to have to be canceled. Which, oh my god, if they start doing that like they do with it at Nickelodeon, I'm going to lose my shit.
Oh well.
So 2 great sneak peeks that we got from San Diego Comic-Con were Steven Universe. Apparently, Lars is now a superhero
Which is amazing.
captain.
Which I saw them like, oh, Lars figured out. Don't rely on Steven. Get my own way home. That's what I got from this. Lars is getting himself home by becoming a space pirate.
And it looks like we might be seeing more of just gem retaliation from like the Diamonds.
Yeah.
Which I'm just thinking, no shit.
Did you see that? Did you guys catch that like picture that showed like the diamonds? Like somebody's fighting a diamond. Like they're fighting a diamond.
Right.
And you see like garnet, pearl.
It looks like bismuth too.
Bismuth.
Oh,
I think that
there's
actually
2 other gems that you can't clearly identify.
I think that's supposed to be pink diamond. I want to say that's supposed to be pink diamond.
It does, but the diamond's right in the center of the chest. Isn't that like where yellow's is?
I think that's where both of them are.
Okay, I don't know. Anywho, but there's 2 gems that you can't figure out who they are.
Well, I mean, there were
So I think
were more crystal gems than just the original.
I know,
3.
but I think it's a hint that we're going to see maybe
yeah.
two more come back.
Right.
Or that maybe one of them's Lapis. Because the figure's kind of like...
Lapis was like a prisoner of war, just straight up.
Okay. And that's what I was thinking. It's like, it looks kind of, but I was like, it's too off to be her. Not to mention that, again, she was like prisoner of war. So I think what we're going to see in this is we're going to see two more gems, or they're going to talk about two gems that were lost.
Or they're finally just going to figure out what the hell happened to Pink Diamond, and...
Yeah, finally, like Greg is like, I don't know your world because you won't effing tell me about it.
It really is, it just shows that it's like, you better not reveal that too quickly. We got like 2 more seasons to fill, so you're going to have to spoon feed us in those nice little expositional bites instead of just...
I like Pearl's like, I want to tell you, I can't.
Because Rebecca Sugar won't let me.
Rebecca Sugar's got me in a vice.
Yeah.
And a little bottle.
That is to AT. So, I'm kind of wondering, are we finally going to see White Diamond in White Diamond's court? That's what I'm just excited to see.
I just want her to show up and
I think
just like smack Yellow Diamond, Blue Diamond's like, what the fuck are you doing?
We've had this talk before.
Right. I'm just hoping, and it's going to be a long shot in Cartoon Network in 1 in a million if you're going to be watching this, which you shouldn't, because it's the podcast no one will listen to.
Stop it.
Make White Diamond Mallory Archer.
Oh yeah, we've talked about that. Yeah.
Yes. Hashtag make White Diamond Mallory Archer.
She can sing too. I think she is actually of that old school
actress, singer.
Yeah, I think that's not a joke. I think that is actually. We might have to look that up, but I believe she is of that old school style of acting.
I just want it so I can mix.
I know.
Mallory
That's
Archer
what you
lines
really
with
want.
Yeah.
But then again, do you really have to if it is her?
Oh, this ship smells like a whorehouse.
It smells like a whorehouse.
So,
what gem do I have to beat around here to get a vodka tonic?
Yeah. So, a lot of exciting things. Lars of the Stars, essentially just this captain of...
He's going to get back. I'm just like, oh, good. Lars will get himself home. I just love that.
And probably what I like the most about this whole arc and the whole Wanted thing is that this is how you make jerk characters likable.
I know.
Because...
Remember how we hated Lars?
Yeah.
Remember how we now love Lars?
Right. And if he was likable to begin with, this whole character arc would have essentially meant nothing if he was likable from the very beginning, because then it's just like, we like him even more now? I mean, okay.
Well, I like how it's like, you showed character growth in a proper way. You show an instance where, hey, he doesn't care about people. You show another instance where he realizes where his attitude is getting him.
Right.
You show another instance where when he holds to his attitude, it causes him to essentially get hurt.
Yeah.
And then you show where when he does make the final redemption, it changes how you think about him.
Plus, I think a death experience will also change
a death experience will hopefully change anyone.
Don't you mean a near-death experience? No, he died.
He straight up died.
He died.
Don't you lie.
He was
Steven
dead.
was like listening. He felt no pulse. He is like, he is dead. That's why he spit on him.
Right. Yeah.
So shoot, that healed him.
we have the remaining off colors. We have a new gem higher up in the form of Emerald, who a lot of people are celebrating. It's like because I think she's like the first like major trans voice actress to be in this show.
Huh.
Which
I can't back that up.
I just heard.
I can't. I have no evidence to back that up.
I mean, I've just seen it on Twitter and on social media.
Not that I don't support the trans community. I'm just saying I have no evidence to back up that this person is trans. And I'm just voicing Emerald.
I've just seen it on social. I don't know the actual voice actor's name.
Kind of character's name. In case the LGBT community's listening.
They shouldn't. This is the broadcast no one will listen to.
But just in case they are. Gotta cover our asses.
But, yeah, so it only makes sense, because, I mean, Steven Universe has been,
very much so.
Been being the most inclusive cartoon, really.
without being wide out there.
I mean, sometimes you just to explain the concept to somebody who's never seen it, is like, oh, what's it about? It's about, I don't know, LGBT rocks.
LGBT rocks.
Oh, you mean like it rules? No, literally
Rocks.
people.
Rock people who may or may not be lesbians.
More like are.
More like are. Careful. They might be listening.
No, but it's pretty good. Like it already. Eric, any input on this one here?
Oh, I haven't. I think I've seen one of these sneak peeks. I didn't see all of them. So.
I showed you both of them, or at least
Did you?
I
Get
shared
it together,
them,
Eric.
I shared them in the chat before we started this whole
You
thing.
gotta
Did
get the
you?
research
I didn't
together.
I was too busy with something else.
If I didn't share links, I at least told you, hey, make
When
sure
to get
you
'em.
make sure you just Google both links. But yeah, a potential for a lot of nice, whether it be Star Wars, Star Trek, or some sort of third reference to space travel. A lot of references will probably be made in this arc.
Hopefully that's one of the first episodes to come out. Space Lars.
Lars the Stars.
But no, the first one's going to be Steven going, we're safe. Everybody's safe.
Except for
Everybody
Lars.
live in a bubble.
Except for Lars.
Except for Lars.
Who is a spice pirate.
Space pirate now. It's okay. He's Spice Pirate.
Bingo bongo. I like it. And I like how he just made that his catchphrase. Is bingo bongo.
Bingo bongo. Awesome.
Fuck you, Lars.
That's amazing.
And then like the third miscellaneous trailer.
If we're going to there, I think we gotta remember what
What?
the people really came here for.
Uh,
The top 5 reason Rush is the best band of all time.
God fucking damn it.
Again with this?
Yes!
You haven't done it for the past 2 podcasts.
It has meaning now.
No, it doesn't. It's never had meaning.
Number 5, Tom Sawyer.
Alright, I'm just gonna...
Number 4,
I don't even have anything to read.
the entirety of the 2112 album.
I'm gonna read this Outback Steakhouse coupon.
There you go. Number 3, Alex Lifeson. Number 2, Neil Peart. Why? Stark controversy. Number 1, Geddy Lee.
No,
because
it's-
nothing says Rush like the wail of Geddy Lee. Okay, now we can go.
You done?
Yeah, I'm
So I
done.
found out that this isn't valid for AARP members.
Well, that's your problem.
Alright, so there is a trailer for... I don't know if you guys heard of Steven Universe Save the Light. Eric, did you hear of
Is that the
Oh,
video
the game? Yeah.
the video game?
I thought we were going to the other thing.
I
My
lost
bad.
track of it.
It was a mobile game, but now they're re-releasing it as a console game with a lot more levels, characters.
Yeah,
Like you
okay.
can play as Peridot, you can play as Greg, Stevani apparently. Greg
is
is
to come to death.
Yeah.
yeah, actually he's the bard of
Oh,
the
that's amazing.
of the team.
Okay, fine, you did it right.
So that's just a small little tidbit that they showed a full trailer of what's going to be coming. They teased also, not teased, but they showed gameplay footage of one of the bosses is another Peridot with like a
Square dot.
square dot,
That was great.
which is just great. But
Beautiful.
I think
Yeah, I thought we were launching into Ready Player One.
yeah,
That's
Austin.
why I jumped the gun.
Yeah, Austin is getting his rush boner ready for the trailer for Ready Player One.
Are we going to be discussing that? Because I think there's one other thing we're missing here.
What is that one other thing that we're missing?
Close enough.
Oh shit!
Yes.
That is close
Yes,
enough.
we were forgetting something earlier. See, well, close enough.
Close enough. Okay,
Just remember, it's not regular show, but it's close enough.
It's pretty much.
it's basically
It's pretty
a
much if
regular
you
show.
took regular show and allowed them to do whatever they wanted.
I mean, it's basically JG Quintel just doing whatever the fuck
Well,
he
I
wants,
think
man.
isn't he bringing back? Isn't
Because he's the main character. It's completely
Yeah.
JG Quintel.
well, who's the Blue Jay? In,
That's JG Quintel.
I was gonna say
He
'cause
voices Mordecai.
Yeah, and I'm like,
and that's and it's just like
And then isn't the chick the same chick who does
Margaret.
Yeah,
I don't know, but
I'm wondering if it is.
you know that's a funny thing. It's just like the Seth MacFarlane thing. That's just JG Quintel's voice. Like he's not doing any like voices. That's just how he talks.
That's amazing.
He just and if you look at the trailer, that's just how he looks in real life. He just has that long, silky smooth hair and
like
sounds
skinny
like
person.
Yep.
Wow. That's awesome.
He's one of those like ageless rock star people, because it's just like I saw him
Pay
talking
no attention to the glorious and ageless rock star behind you.
because I saw him at a panel at Comic-Con way back when like Flapjack season 1 was starting, and he was a storyboard and writer for that, like director for that, and he looks exactly the same as he does now. So I don't know what it is about like skinny rock star looking people.
You gotta just grow your hair long out, and you're forever young.
That clearly doesn't work because I don't know. I can't grow hair. I'm a fucking
Eric
freak.
seems to be. Eric hasn't aged in, I don't know, 8 years we've known him.
Yeah, I have a very slow aging process.
What do you got?
Because I don't do drugs.
Even though
I do too many.
Even though you advocate for people to smoke weed every day, you fucking hypocrite. You doomed America.
Do not bring in the glorious Lord Snoop Dogg into this.
All right.
We're talking about a day apparently.
We're talking about another, and this is just great that he gets to basically do all the things that regular show couldn't do. Which is not to say that it was bad. It's just like
it's more of like
now we can just get rid of the like subtext of it all.
Exactly. You're going to an adult level audience. That's all. That's the only. It's regular show for adults. That's all it is.
I can guarantee that you could like splice together. You could splice together footage from regular show and Close Enough and basically just make it
still have the same show.
Still have the same show. You have the main character being voiced by the same person with the same voice.
It's not that hard.
Yeah.
In fact, it's just paint by numbers at this point.
The only thing I haven't seen is a release date. It just has that innocuous coming soon. So if it's anything like the Kingdom Hearts 3 trailer, we'll see it like
6 years from now.
6 years from now.
No. There is actual release date now.
6 years from now.
They say 2018.
6 years from now.
But, haven't they also made release dates in the past that they've just kind of ignored? Because didn't they say like 2016 at one point?
No.
Or did they just say, hey, a trailer's coming out in 2017?
I know for Kingdom Hearts 3 people were predicting, because of the calendar that was in the background of this one scene, that it was going to come out like 2018 or 2017, somewhere around that ballpark. But otherwise, I think it's been more of the American localization that has been like procrastinating and like delaying things to make sure it's of top quality.
So you're saying that the game is released in Japan and us Americans just don't get it
that
yet.
was a decade ago. We've gotten a lot better since then. So, we're no longer in the age where we have simultaneous, we now have simultaneous release dates for video games now, where the localization team and the original team are on par and release the game on the same date now.
Right. So that's I think I might just start. I'll buy Kingdom Hearts, even though I have not finished or played the first two.
Never played any of them.
Yeah, well, you actually own a PS2.
No,
don't
he
you?
doesn't.
I thought you did.
Yeah, I do.
What, you do?
Yeah.
Just never bothered to
He's
buy
a
the
lazy
game and
asshole.
play it. Yeah. Just never bothered to buy the game.
I mean, to be fair, if you were to try to explain the plot of Kingdom Hearts to anybody, even people who have played the games, I mean, you're shit out of luck, buddy. That
Disney and alternate universes.
not even close. It goes like...
Well, that's a podcast for a whole other day.
That is a 3-hour seminar podcast right there of just kill me now. But I think we have put it off. Like, before we get into this, is there anything else that we're missing? Did we discuss anything else?
No.
My life is shit.
Yes, we know. Continue.
Okay.
They already know if they've been listening this far. And they should have been.
All right. So, Ready Player One was announced. Steven Spielberg to direct. A lot of flashy, good references.
It's not just Spielberg directing. Did you see who wrote the screenplay?
No. Who else?
The original author.
I mean, I think that goes without saying.
It's the original author he collaborated for the screenplay.
I mean, wouldn't you also? Point is, he's good.
It's like I'm looking at this. I'm like, there's no way this is. If this fails, I can never trust Spielberg again. I can't trust Hollywood at all after this.
Really? The Emoji Movie was released yesterday.
I never backed that up.
The reviews have been a delight.
I never backed that up. But, well, that's another thing.
Oh, Eric, it's gone up 300%. It has a 3% on Rotten Tomatoes. It's got a 3%.
Some lonely dude in the basement wrote that one.
But more on Ready Player One. So, here's the thing. I've read the book, and that was years ago, so I might have to reread it.
We probably all should reread it before we see the movie.
Because I just know what happens, but not really.
All right.
It's like,
my turn to talk.
It's like, oh, did you get the Rush reference? And that's like, no. Did you get the thing? Yeah, well, that's pretty much all I know.
Yeah. See, I remember it. I remember most of it, but I read it a while after Zach did. But I just love, and I feel like, I'm really glad Spielberg's the director because I feel he can capture this. I just love the idea of a dystopia that's not brought about by a cataclysmic event. It's just brought about by people not giving a shit. Literally. The whole reason the society's in dystopia is because they don't give a shit because everything's online.
I mean...
And it's so freaking plausible.
Sure. I mean, if you have essentially a digital world where you can get a job and get an education...
And you can escape, it's like, what the hell's the point of the real world?
Looting?
I know. It's pretty much like, what's the point? It's like The Matrix, but no robots, and you're free to come in and out as you wish.
So it's
Nobody does.
So it's not like The Matrix.
Not like The Matrix.
So it is like The Matrix.
It's like the opposite of The Matrix.
But not.
But I love that, and I really hope Spielberg can kind of capture that in the film. That's what I'm really hoping he does.
Look, if there's one thing he's been able to do, even in his prime, it's to make things whimsical.
I know, and I think he'll do that well. I also want to... We only really get to see the main character. I think we get a glimpse of... You know how there's the buddy, who... Like, the main character's buddy, who's like a arena fighter?
Mm-hmm.
I think we get a small glimpse of him, the bald guy, who can...
Right.
Separate his body.
Yeah, we saw a glimpse of that.
I think we saw him, and I think we saw a very brief glimpse of the girl.
The thing is,
two swords.
She
has the two swords, right?
Sure.
Okay. I don't. Well,
like I said, dude, I only.
You need to reread that, man.
I've only read it. I only read it like I think when it just came out.
I know, and I think you.
And I gave you my copy.
I think you hounded me for like years to read it. And I'm like, oh, how good can this be? And then I read it, and I'm like, oh my god, this is amazing.
You have a bigger boner about it than I do.
I know, and I'm like, that's the funny part. Is like I dragged my feet to read this, and then when I did, I was like, oh my god, it's amazing.
Why didn't you tell me about this sooner? And I'm just sitting there, just like,
exactly, just flabbergasted. I'm just my big thing is I've always been a huge fan of Rush, but to just have it, I really the fact that 2112, my favorite album, is so much a part of that.
I mean,
I can't wait to see it.
You can't have the 80s without
that album.
Rush.
Yeah, you can't.
Can't do that.
But I mean there's a lot they're gonna pull off, and it's gonna be impressive.
Right. Do you think... I don't know, because I've already been on the whole tirade of adaptations and reboots and things like that. I think the confidence in this is like... And that's just... I've only been on that kick because I've been researching and contrasting Ghost in the Shell because it recently came out on Blu-ray, which...
Gave Zach a stroke.
That just opens up old wounds. It's just like... You had everything... That's like being given a restaurant where you have everything you will ever need to have a successful restaurant, and you just turn it into a McDonald's.
Pretty much.
Like, that's what this reboot did. So, when I see Ready Player One, I just keep thinking, like, look, it's a 1-to-1 adaptation. You have a written narrative that is in the same structure as a movie. There really should be no excuse for it not to be good.
I mean, and you've got too many big names. You got Spielberg. You have the writer. I mean, I don't feel this is going to be a bad I don't feel this is going to be like Ghost in the Shell.
Well, right, because Ghost in the Shell is actually going to be handled with some integrity and maybe some people who actually give a shit about
Ready
making...
Player One is going to be handled with some integrity.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But
the Harry Potter series. Again, you had good director, you had the writer involved with each of the movies.
I think what really kind of dictates how well an adaptation is going to go is just how popular the media is.
Well, I think what also dictates it is, do you let the writer be a part of it? And I think the ones who don't let the writer be involved are the ones that fail the most.
Well, I don't think J.K. Rowling was involved. I don't think she wrote the script for any of them.
No, but I think
But she was involved in like
her
casting and as a consultant.
Yeah, they kept her as a consultant. They let her. I mean, I think Luna Lovegood, like that was J.K. Rowling's pick.
I think it was a pick for all of them.
Yeah.
Which,
but I mean, like,
I just keep thinking to the controversy surrounding the Harry Potter play.
Oh yeah.
When Hermione was
cast as a black girl. It's like,
and then J.K. Rowling comes in full defense, like, never did I say that that Hermione was white. And it's like, yeah, but I mean, if you're in charge of like, if you have input,
then you just painted a very racist picture of a black woman, J.K. Rowling.
I mean,
with buck teeth and curly hair. Because that's the description of Hermione in the books. Buck teeth and curly hair.
I don't think it's racist. I think that's just stupid.
Yeah.
But I'm getting ahead of myself. You have Ready Player One, which is kind of just this enigma in science fiction where, surprisingly, it's gotten a lot of... it's not as one-sided as like you'd like to think, though. That's the thing.
What do you mean,
like I think there are a fair amount of people who think that that Ready Player One's overrated. Which is fine. Like, I'm sure if I were to go back with a critical lens, I could probably think of, like, you know, maybe in this scene, it doesn't really make a lot of sense for this character to do that, or, you know...
I guess you could, but I mean...
As far as world building, I don't really have anything to knock on it, but
no.
I think maybe in terms of, like, story and character...
I'd say it's one of the better world builds. I would say it's very... It does do a very fine line of, here's the fantasy, here's the reality, and what happens in reality does affect the fantasy and vice versa. Right,
I definitely think... And I think you have a lot easier... I mean, I find it weird because you have essentially two worlds, but I think the fact that you have two worlds makes it easier to world build because you have very specific rules.
Yeah, and you can contrast them and go...
For them. Like, you have the real world where it's like, okay, you can't have the DeLorean time machine in the real world because that's just not a thing that happens.
Exactly, that's just not there.
But you can have it in this fantasy world where anything can happen.
Well, and it also paints a picture of why people are drawn to the second world.
Right.
Because they've let the real world go to shit.
I mean...
But who wouldn't? I mean, that's
not
the thing.
Untrue.
But that's the thing. I mean, imagine we could live in our... Imagine we could play, like, Bloodborne. Or, like, Dark
maybe
Souls.
Not. No, I mean, no, those are bad examples. I don't want to live in those worlds.
Okay, alright. Imagine Guild Wars or Neverwinter. Or, like,
okay, that's
Warcraft.
Better. Because as much as I like those games, those worlds are terrible to live in. They're not good worlds to live in.
I'd say Sims, but you're just hoping there's no overlord taking control of you.
But yeah, just Neverwinter or World of Warcraft or whatever.
To just live in that.
Was it? I forget. Was there WoW references or was it just strictly an '80s thing?
It was strictly an '80s, but it very much had like.
I want to say, wasn't there a Baldur's Gate reference?
Yeah, there is.
Because that's what
Warcraft came out like.
Warcraft
as we know it didn't start as we know it.
Well, right. I mean,
it
the whole aspect
as like
of
a castle defender game.
I think that's how D&D came about, didn't it? Or just
no. D&D came about like back in the 80s.
I think it was 70s.
No, Warcraft. Yeah, Warcraft was very much like a strategy defend.
Yeah,
like an RTS or real-time strategy.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No, I definitely remember that. I know something came about from like Baldur's Gate. I can't remember what it was though.
Is that the game he plays in the first? No, that's
I thought it was the first. No, the first level. The first one was Joust, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was Joust. It was just like impossible.
Right. Joust is a shitty game.
It's a hard game.
I hated Joust.
So.
But yeah, it's definitely, and I think that's kind of the advantage of this whole thing is that it plays on so much nostalgia. Like, it doesn't just pander to one aspect. It panders to
it embodied the whole culture.
The 80s kids.
Exactly. And that's the fair thing. When they bring it up, it makes sense why. Because
like, everybody wants to remember the good old times.
Not just that. It's like, why is everyone obsessed with the 80s? Well, because the creator of the video game created these 3 Easter eggs and was obsessed with the 80s. So everyone in turn, it kind of mocks pop culture. It's like, because someone famous like this, everyone else followed suit and likes it now.
I think it wasn't just like because.
Well, that and
it was more of just
to find them.
It was a zeitgeist basically that he created that everyone just embraced.
Exactly.
Because I don't think it was contingent on him liking it. It was that he introduced it to the world at large, and they just were like
him liking it, but then it was also because you could get his fortune. Everyone's like, okay, we got to become obsessed with the 80s so we can maybe find these, and it just kind of kept it that way.
Sure.
If you read it would make sense.
I mean, I'm sure it does. Like I said, I gotta reread it, man.
I know.
Get off my dick.
I think you'd have a little bit of trouble finding fault with it. I think the biggest fault with it would just be like the numerous references to the 80s, but that's...
Well, I mean, I don't think that's what's wrong with it. I think that's just the appeal of it. But like I said, I mean, to say that there's any perfect... there's a reason I never give anything a 10 out of 10, is because there's just no such thing as a perfect product, really. I mean...
Forrest Gump.
No. No.
Toy Story.
No. The human characters look like toys. I mean, come on. That's a criticism right there.
Maybe that's a broader sense. We're all just playthings.
Oh my god.
Did you catch that, Zach?
Shut up.
Did you catch that?
Stop talking. So...
It was an enigma. It was hiding in plain sight the whole time.
For the love of God. So... Yeah. And I'm not saying... I mean, like, I enjoyed Ready Player One. I haven't read any of his other works. Like, I know he's got a newer one. Andromeda. But I think the... I mean, the whole aspect of Ready Player One is definitely taking the world by storm. People are looking at this as like... I think it's one of those things where it's like, how could you not make a movie about, like... And how could you not get Spielberg to
I'm
make
like,
this?
well,
it's like,
I was reading it, like, why was Spielberg behind this? Well, apparently Spielberg's a giant nerd.
Of course he's a giant
and
fucking
I'm not,
nerd.
And it's not like, just like, oh, he's a giant... No. He actually, when he was doing Indiana Jones, there was an arcade game he was obsessed with getting 1,000,000 points on. He brought it to the woods while they were filming, hooked it up to generators they had on set, and in between set takes, he was playing.
That's so frivolous.
That is amazing.
And you know what happened?
What?
He did it. In the middle of the woods, he got $1 million score on this game, and I can't remember what it was. But it was like, you read it and you're like, okay, I know this movie is in good hands now. There's no way he will let this fail.
Well, I can't get much input into this because I never read the book.
We're going to Barnes & Noble tonight, and I'm buying you a copy.
Yes, you will.
I will buy you a copy because I want a copy for myself too.
I already have my own copy. I just
Shut
need
up.
to find it. That's an interesting thing I got to show you. Do you guys remember the Thug Notes series that I showed you?
No.
What?
Thug Notes?
No.
It's this parody of Spark Notes where this just completely gangsta character kind of recaps movies in like surprisingly accurate literary themes and all that. His newest analysis is on Ready Player One. I'll show you guys after we're done with the podcast.
Ooh, that would be nice.
That might be interesting.
Yeah, no, I swear I showed you Thug Notes, but in any case, I think we've. Is there anything else you kind of want to?
If this fails, I'm done watching movies.
I'm done watching
I'm
movies.
just like, I'm done. I'm
All
done
right.
going to theaters. I'm done supporting the Hollywood machine. If this fails,
Look, we got.
I have no hope for any other movie after this.
Look, it's simple. If you stop going to bad movies,
they'll
stop making bad movies.
And that's the thing. I'm like, this can't. I don't know how this could be bad. I mean, the only thing I could think of is like a very shitty casting choice.
Well, shit, that's how all adaptations start in the planning phases. Like, hell, even if you look at Ghost in the Shell, removing all the stigma from, like, anime adaptations and just looking at the property and what it kind of holds to cinema, even on paper, it's like, how could you fuck up Ghost in the Shell?
Yeah.
Well, lo and behold, they did. So
yeah, but that was more of like that didn't have anything to do with visual. That had to do with very poor story.
No, I'll be covering this in my newest video. Ghost in the Shell, as an adaptation and as a remake, fails on every single aspect.
I thought the
Period.
animation wasn't bad.
Oh,
Not the animation, but like the
CGI?
The
Yes,
yeah,
yeah.
that wasn't bad.
That's the movie's like major plus.
Yeah,
but
that's
everything
like the
else
only
is
thing I
not.
give it.
I mean, but that's just the thing, though. It doesn't
Casting
capture.
really wasn't. I don't think casting was bad. I think it was.
I mean,
just
when I
they
say
couldn't-
it fails on every level, I say it fails on story. It fails on characters. Not casting and characters are two different things.
Yeah.
Character, themes,
I think you can have like
and all
you
that.
can have like an A-list actor, but you give them a shitty character, they're
And
not
that's-
gonna be
that
able
was
to
the
do
perfect
anything.
thing.
Yeah, exactly.
They're not going to be able to do anything with it.
exactly. That's
Like
happened.
if I take Morgan Freeman and I make him play a tiny little oh my god, that'd be hilarious.
Well, look, here's the thing.
Never mind.
We've already seen that with Patrick Stewart playing Poop in the Emoji Movie.
Oh my god, that was.
You have to be
I know.
reminded about that
I
now.
know.
You have to be reminded of that now that Sir Patrick Stewart played Poop.
And the emoji.
He
I was
is
like,
Poop.
I'm like,
Poop emoji.
why? How did they do this?
I'd like to know what Blake got on. What kind of dirt they got on.
I don't know. That's the only thing that makes sense. What do you have that this man agreed? I mean, I know he's played controversial roles like Avery Bullock in American Dad, but those are funny.
Yeah, those were actually like fun characters.
Yeah.
This is Poop.
This is straight up.
You are playing shit,
Yeah.
and everyone knows it.
All right.
So, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. Emoji Movie, 10 out of 10, gonna win an Oscar.
What?
And you know, I think there's this big fallacy that I always hear when people and it's usually people who don't really know what they're talking about when it comes to movies will say, "Well, why are you criticizing it if it's not meant for you? It's obviously just meant for little kids. I mean, why you got to be
Because
knocking
the
it?"
show isn't meant for little kids.
And my
We
own
talked about emojis.
the Emoji Movie.
Your kids are dumb.
And I'm just thinking, it's like, it's not shitty to criticize something that's meant for a little audience.
Emperor's New Groove, meant for children. Shrek, meant for children.
Disney, period.
Just
meant
Disney,
for children.
period.
But I'll tell you this, I can rewatch those as an adult and go, hey, that's still a good story.
I mean, to
I'll
say,
laugh at some of the things in New Groove.
and that's like saying, oh, you don't. There's really no apt analogy because it's just such a stupid fallacy to say that, oh, just because you don't like that thing doesn't mean you have to criticize people who like that thing. And it's like,
I'll admit there is like an audience like geared towards the movies. Like Ready Player One's going to definitely be geared towards your science fiction.
it's sci-fi 80s buffs.
Exactly, your 80s buffs. They're going
all
to
that.
definitely be geared towards it. But just because it's geared towards them doesn't mean anything wrong in the movie is unforgivable. I mean, not unforgivable. It doesn't mean anything that goes wrong in the movie can just be washed over because it was guided towards a different audience.
Well, right, and I think that's just the biggest thing here is just remembering that, hey, fans of animation aren't just the target audience,
Exactly, and that's
even though it's targeted and marketed towards kids, you have people who are very passionate
adults have to go to these films.
about... That is also true.
You have to give them something.
As far as just animation in general, 2017 is going to probably be one of the worst years.
Mm-hmm.
And it's sad to say that the best animated movies that came out this year are going to be like Captain Underpants and maybe the My Little Pony movie, and that's pretty low. God help those kids. God help those kids.
You laugh, but I saw the other day a kid had. I went to church and a kid had a Captain Underpants 2 book with him.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's like
that's amazing.
yeah, but when you compare it to 2016, it's like, so if, like, say for example, if Captain Underpants came out in 2016, which would you say is better, Captain Underpants or Kubo and the Two Strings?
Oh yeah, he's like Kubo.
It's Kubo and the Two Strings.
It's like you'd have to be.
Look, I mean, I'm not saying that Captain Underpants was bad, but even though it's like really good in my opinion, it's still like lowbrow. It's
exactly.
It's Captain
The whole
Underpants.
genre was based on lowbrow humor.
Yeah, it's so that's not a bad thing to say that it's lowbrow. I mean, it does it right.
Nice.
I think wasn't that made by Sony Animation, Eric?
I swear, wasn't it DreamWorks? I could swear DreamWorks did Captain Underpants.
Okay, yeah. Right, so on that note, is there kind of anything you guys wanted to touch on or talk about?
No, I think we've touched all our bases.
Beat everything to death.
So, in recap, Austin has a giant boner for the 80s, a decade he'd never lived in.
Not the 80s. Not the 80s, just Rush.
Just, again, a decade he never lived in.
Decade he never lived.
All right,
Curse
well...
my father for he got to see Rush live when they did that album, and I did not.
Right. So,
no, that's bad. I don't curse him. He's a cool dude.
Anyway, this has been the podcast no one to listen to.
Love you, Dad.
If you've been listening up until this point, we all ask that you stop it and support your local business. They care about you.